Hello, good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. Please, if you can hear me, just use the raise hand indicator. Can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, we
Good day.
can. Good day.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good morning. All right, I can see attendees are already putting their hands up as well. Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. It promises to be a very great session. So if you have friends, loved ones who are not here yet, please give them that much needed nudge because it's going to be a very great session. So welcome to the Waste to Wealth webinar. It's a wealth creation session, and it promises to be one that is going to be interesting and very, very interactive. So quickly, I'm going to get out of your faces and just hand over. But before I do so, my name is Joan Igagoya. I head the brand and corporate communication and customer experience unit at FunQuest. And I'm going to hand over right now to the panelists and discussants to take it up from here. So firstly, Mr. Visioni, good day and great having you here. Please, over to you. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you so very much, Joan, and good afternoon to all attendees and the discussants of this very, very important topic, waste to wealth. Today, we have chosen to profile this topic so that we can really do some justice to it. That's why we brought the professionals within the space to have conversation with us. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation, these are the webinar housekeeping rules. Please do know that this webinar is being recorded. Participants are all muted by the webinar administrator. This is done to help you enjoy the session and to avoid distraction. Kindly note there will be polls in the course of the webinar. Kindly engage when it is time for the poll. And use our Q&A feature, the question and answer session, to send in your questions. We love those questions, and I trust that the discussant will also take those questions and then put requisite answers to all of them. Peradventure, you're talking about how do I get this webinar recording? Not to be worried. We have this webinar recorded and it will be sent to the mail of every participant. Having done with that, now let's just get into the why of today. Now, FunQuest, the organizer of this webinar, is licensed by CBN. We are in the business of financial intermediation, financial advisory, management of funds, leases, and related businesses. We've been in business for 11 years plus, and we are strong on corporate governance and very well capitalized. Now, having done with all those preliminary issues, I want us to get into the poll. Straight away, it would be nice for us to also get to know you. One of the key things that will help us give you the best of the best today is to get to know you. So the first poll is saying, we would like to know you. Please select the category that best describes you. One, are you a business owner? Are you a salary earner? Are you a business owner and salary earner together? Or are you a hustler? You know, whatever you do, just choose any of those three. And number two says, do you see yourself starting your new business? It could be this year. We still have about 2 months to go. And maybe next year, depending on what works for you. So we'd like to know the answers. So go ahead and then let us know. If you're a business owner, just click business owner. If you're a salary earner, just click salary earner. And if you're a combination of the two, feel free to choose that. But our panelists can vote at this webinar. So we're waiting for you to get done with that. We're waiting for you to get done with that, with the poll. Okay. I'm sure we're going to get the results shortly. Yeah, here it is. Okay, we'd like to, business owner, 20% of the audience, a current number of audience we have, salary are now 60%, a combination of the two, 20%. So we know where, how to structure the conversation, and I trust that our discussant will pay attention to these statistics and then be able to properly guide discussion. Now, the second one from what you've given us, you said, did you see yourself starting new business before the end of next year? And 78% said yes. Wow. So you are welcome to a discussion that will help you maximize that dream of starting business. There is no better place to be than a passion-related business that's called Waste to Wealth. Once again, you are welcome. Thank you very much. Now, let's get started. My name is BC Oni. I work for FundQuest in the office of the Executive Director and as Chief Operating Officer. Like I said earlier, FundQuest has been in business for over 11 years. My background is in investment banking and spiced with strong communication and strategy. I schooled in Lagos, University of Lagos, for the first degree, second degree, and currently a doctorate student of economics at one of the universities in Lagos. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, and as well as London-based Leadership for Environment and Development. So thank you. That's Mr. BC Oni. Now, I want us to get into the first segment of our conversation. I have here today two discussants of this topic, waste to wealth. And the way I will take it is, first of all, I will introduce our first discussant, and she will take a presentation for 10 minutes. And the first discussant is Mrs. Temitope Okuno. Mrs. Okuno is a certified teacher, a proficient consultant, an award-winning environmental sustainability communicator, promoter, and advocate of environmental health, zero wet gardening, climate change, and conservation. Ms. Okuno is the founder of Faith International Foundation and the current CEO of Eco Schools Nigeria, a non-for-profit organization. He has majored in environmental health and sustainability advocacy for some years. I'm passionate about the establishment and improvement of a conscious generation committed and dedicated to the conservation, sustainability, and protection of the environment. She has 17 years of experience in non-profit sector, where she has trained and empowered over 30,000 youth and women in environmental health and sustainable waste management in Western, Southern, and Eastern Nigeria. She took her upcycling skill to the next level when she and her team built 5 different 25-feet upcycle eco trees made from 12,000 discarded PET bottles and 65 tires around Lagos State metropolis, preventing plastics and tires from ending up in landfills, drains, and oceans in collaboration with Lagos State Waste Management Authority and Lagos State Parks and Gardens. Temitope has featured on CNN twice in the same year for our work in mitigating climate change in Nigeria. Our goal is to see communities and also reduce the carbon footprint while capturing value from the process. It's my pleasure and excitement to have Mrs. Okuno speak to us for 10 minutes. Ms. Okuno, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. BC Oni. I am so privileged to be on this call this morning. I would like to permit me please to share my screen from here. Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Can you see it now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much once again. FunQuest, thank you. I'm so privileged to be here, and I'm happy to be here also with Mrs. Belinda Odene. Thank you so much. All right, so first and from 10 minutes, I hope I'm able to do this in 10 minutes. I'm going to sit up right now and try my best. So we're talking about waste to wealth here. Waste is not waste until it's completely wasted. This is one of the philosophies of the Faith International Foundation. The concept of waste to wealth transforms waste into an opportunity for us. It alters our perspective on waste, turning what we once considered as a problem into an opportunity. Did you know that every year the world generates over 2 billion tons of solid waste, enough to fill a line of our Loma trucks, stretching around the earth 7 times? Nigeria alone generates 32 million tons. And every year, we generate about 2.5 million tons of plastic waste. Only 30% is being collected and properly managed, of which the remaining 70% ends up where? In our dump site, in our ocean, our water bottles, water bodies, our sewers, even our bloodstreams right now, the air, the water we drink, and all of that, and then even in our food. That's just to set a premise. I think I need to reduce this. I can't see my... Okay, so that is just a premise from what I was just saying there. Now, waste is a misplaced wealth. I need you all to understand today as we are talking that we are talking about waste here, but I want you to start seeing opportunities, because I'm going to be dropping down some lines, and I want you to start seeing opportunities from what I'm saying. World Bank estimates that each one of us here today in Nigeria, we generate about 0.5 kilograms of waste daily. And it is forecasted that by 2050, it will rise to about 107 million tons. And that means it can be a threat to us, but guess what? It is an opportunity to me, right? And that is how I want you also to think today. Sustainable waste management, or sustainable waste to wealth concept, is a concept that I want you to see today as an idea of transforming waste materials, which are typically discarded, into valuable resources or products. It recognizes that many waste materials still have inherent value and can be reused, repurposed, upcycled, or recycled, and can also be further processed into beautiful things to create economic value, environmental value, and of course, social benefits. Now, waste is a resource. And because it is a resource, we need to optimize that resource, right? We need to start thinking, instead of disposing them into our dustbin or our dump site or burning them, we need to start thinking about how this waste can be harnessed to recover raw materials. We need you to start thinking about economic opportunities from waste to wealth initiatives, the provision of job opportunities, development of new businesses like what we are going to be seeing right now. I'm sure you're seeing on my screen a beautiful tires that was made, a beautiful tire table that was made from discarded tire. We want you to start seeing environmental sustainability, the fact that we need to start diverting our waste from our dump sites and reducing the need for virgin resources and conserving them, minimizing pollution, and of course, greenhouse gas emission. Let us not talk about the social benefits as well, where waste to wealth initiatives can have social, positive social benefits to empower our women, our communities, providing income, generating opportunities for them, providing, public health opportunities, as well as, encouraging our communities. Look at the concept here called circular economy. It is a sustainable waste to wealth concept that aligns with the principles of circular economy, where products and materials are designed to be refused, reduced, reused, upcycled, and repurposed or recycled. It promotes the idea of closing the loop and minimizing waste, of course, maximizing resource efficiency. You can go to the dictionary or Google and find out what circular economy is. But for the purpose of this webinar, the sustainable waste management, waste to wealth concept represents a shift in our mindsets from a linear take from the environment, make, and of course, dispose model to a circular, sustainable, and resource-efficient model. It acknowledges that waste is not the end of a project life cycle or a product life cycle, but a potential starting point. It is a concept that is critical in addressing our global challenges, such as waste management, resource depletion. I mean, look at the former slide here. Tires. Somebody brought this tire to my vulcanizer. thinking it was waste. He got his new tire, changed it and left it. Of course, he wants it to waste around in the gutter or in the land field or something. But I went to my vulcanizer, took this tire and make it into a beautiful tire table. This is a whole lot of things where I talk about your environmental impact when you start thinking waste to wealth. Your economic growth, your innovation, creativity comes to play. Resource conservation comes to play. Global impact, empowerment, community benefits and all. I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes because I'm trying to rush down because I don't have so much time. Now, we're talking about opportunities in the challenge. Remember, our population growth is what in Nigeria? 200 million. Waste collection system is a deficit, of course. What can we do? Developing infrastructure, circular economic practices and all. Look around you, for example. What kind of waste can you find around you? I don't know if we have, if the comment section is open for our participants to drop in the kind of waste that they can find around them. But I can assure you in Nigeria, we can find tires. We can find polystyrene, that's the foam packs that you use for your food. We can have PET bottles. I mean, this is a cleanup that I went to do on the lagoon few years ago. And these are the things I found in the lagoon. We find papers, aluminum cans, different waste materials, and there are laws. There are laws. Why are we not obeying those laws? Why are we ignorant, headlong, recalcitrant, or are we just seeing opportunities right now as I am seeing these opportunities? You tell me what it is. Sustainable waste management recovery opportunities globally is valued at $1.3 trillion in the US dollars in 2022. It is projected to rise to $2 trillion by 2030. How many people are we in Nigeria? Start calculating. Business people, I know you're already doing something. You're already doing some calculations right there. It is said that each one of us here generates 0.5 kg, like I said earlier. That means 100 tons of waste is generated per day. Our market value for waste management in Nigeria is 4 billion naira per day. And we are still sitting down thinking that the waste that we generate from our home is waste. The opportunity here is to create sustainable green jobs, especially when the unemployment rate in Nigeria is increasing, in fact, all over the world every day. Now, look at these 5 main sustainable thematic areas that we love to adopt at the foundation. Refuse is your number one. You have to refuse that there is a concept called waste. You must start thinking sustainable waste. You must start refusing those things that are waste and start finding alternatives. Reduce as much as possible the waste around you. Reuse is an upcycle culture. Upcycling is the creative reuse of waste materials into functional products of high environmental value. Rot means compost. Can we compost our food waste? It is said that 50% of our food waste, is being discarded every day. Of the waste value chain, 50% comprises of food waste. Recycle is always number 5. The last thing is to recycle. But what business opportunities are you seeing? What business opportunities are you seeing right here? Look at, for example, waste to wealth ideas. Do you know that our banana waste can be turned into fabrics? The interesting thing here is that our banana waste contains fiber, which has the potential of, turning them into fabrics, rugs, clothes. I mean, I have a material here that would tell you that this material from the Philippines, I got it, my husband got it from the Philippines, and it is made from banana. I mean, seeing that cloth, to me, and we eat a lot of plantain, banana in Nigeria. What are we turning those waste into? Look at this beautiful jewelry here. Did you know it's made from plastic? Look at your left-hand side of the screen. Did you see that PET bottle is made from shirt? I remember Joan told me that I should bring an example. This is an example of a shirt that is made from plastic, 100% plastic material. And it might interest you to know that only 7 PET bottles, that PET bottles that you would drink in your car, wind down, throw it away on the road. Yes, 7 of it is used to make these t-shirts. Now, how are we promoting, that kind of a sustainable lifestyle where we begin to see our waste as resources? Let me go to the next slide now. I want to really talk about the kind of waste that can be recycled. Your PET bottle is number one. Your cans, number two. Your pizza carton, everybody, all the children during holiday, we all eat pizzas and all of those things. Those juices, packs, and all of that are all some of the waste that can be recycled. Others include, okay, so now what you're seeing here now is that circular economy concept where waste is brought back to life. I'm just trying to show you here how people bring their PET bottles. Women bring their PET bottles. It has also been observed that women are the major promoters of sustainable living. And that's why you see them every time when it comes to waste management. That's me here in the third picture, looking at a baled PET bottles. These are the processes of, turning waste to wealth, particularly your PET bottles. Right. These are other waste materials as well that you can turn into wealth. These are tires that are discarded everywhere, can be turned into furniture. These are fashion waste. Fashion waste right now in Olusosun is just an eyesore. But what are people doing about it? Look at Joke. Joke is turning pure water sachet into clothwear, bags, school bags, shopping bags. Shola here is turning fashion waste into art and craft. And in this bag that you see, the map of Africa, the bag is made from fashion waste as well. And people are turning it into beautiful things. Paper waste. Do I have to stop now?
All right. Okay. Mrs. Okuno, thank you so very much. Let me just pause you a moment. And I know you still have time to continue, but I want to seize this opportunity to welcome our second speaker for today, so that we can also take some bits from her, and then we continue into the conversation. That's the flow we're going to adopt today. Thank you so very much for those insightful insights that you have thrown in there. And I could see the comment section buzzing. But before we begin to flow with the mainstream of today's conversations, that's the question and answer session, it's my great pleasure to welcome the second discussant of this topic, waste to wealth, Mrs. Belinda Aderonke Odeneye. Ms. Odeneye boasts decades of experience in both federal and state public service. She served for 23 years in various roles, including as a scientific officer at the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. She has also served Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LATEPA, Lagos State Safety Commission, and the Environmental Services Department. In 2012, she reached the pinnacle of her career when she was sworn in as the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources in Lagos State. Throughout her career, Ms. Odeneye has expanded her working knowledge and skills through various international conferences and training programs. She holds membership and fellowship with prestigious organizations such as Leadership for Environment and Development, LEAD, and the International Institute of Risk and Safety Management in the United Kingdom. She's also actively involved with several non-governmental organizations dedicated to environment and waste management causes. She has also trained quite a number of people, and she's passionate about this segment that we are talking about today. It is my great pleasure to welcome Mrs. Aderonke Odeneye to speak to us for 10 minutes. Then we'll get into the conversation section. Ms. Odeneye, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here talking about a wonderful and personal topic to myself, waste to wealth. Basically, Temitope has shared the basic things that need to be learned in terms of understanding what the poll is also telling us and how to share what we have. I'm going to talk basically from the government point of view, having retired after 35 years. I want to tell us that there is enough laws for us to practice environmental pollution, environmental issues, waste to wealth, waste should not be wasted. And the reason why we are having issues with waste today is lack of understanding. And my main point today is to encourage us all to be intentional. We have heard it all. Waste management is everybody's business. It is an important element in environmental protection. So we should not wish waste away. We must do something about it. So our eyes have already been opened to the attitude changing individually, personally, as a community, as a state, and as a government. Nationally, regionally, and internationally, waste has no boundary. So the main purpose for what we're doing today is to show forth that we need to be hygienic, we need to be efficient, we need to be economic with solid waste management especially. There are different types of waste streams. So Temitope has looked at the solid waste. So there is also money in the liquid waste. Our toilets, the water that comes from our the we that we pass that we think is waste is money. Dearly beloved people, you can make money from your waste. There is waste coming from electrical and electronic waste. You need to know the copper wires, all the things that come from our computers, our phones, they are money. I want to just go to what I do personally, because it is when we generate intentional interest that we can make money. When we're told about this topic, I said, FundQuest, you being a financial institution, people just think money, money, money. If you don't have passion, you cannot make money in the waste business. You cannot, because what you don't love, you will not sustainably do it. So basically, the first thing to have is a change of attitude, to be intentional and to be passionate. At home, I separate all my waste. I am a zero waste practitioner. My bin outside hardly gets filled up because I separate the cans, the paper. I use most of the paper in my compost tumbler. All the kitchen waste and the garden waste, they go inside the tumbler and we make it into manure, and it becomes what I use to plant my garden. So also personally, I practice eco gardening. So I use tires, just like Temitope said, to plant the likes of oregano. I plant pomegranate, mulberry in the house. Some people have come and they've seen it. And because I'm where all my documents are not, I don't have it to show. But Temitope, you have some of the pictures I told you to put in the background. So if you can help me with that, so that they can see the compost tumblers and the wall garden, I won't mind that. So that will help me to keep talking, because like we said, 10 minutes is a very short time, but we want to make sure that all of us have that passion to start a business. I'm happy to see that 20% they would like to be salary earners, and also they also want to be to also do something on the side. What I'm telling you about all these things that we're seeing in terms of this is that we have to make up our mind and intentional to buy them. Imagine that you're now pumping your money to create all this wealth and nobody's buying it. You are still going to the international Italian market to go and buy your furniture. How many of us can put this in our homes? How many of us can make use of it? I have so many people who said, yes, I've picked all the waste, I've made chair and table out of it, but I do not have people to buy it. This is an example of the wall garden. I have exactly this and an improved one in my home. So I actually eat from my garden. Yesterday, I was in another seminar talking about health, and I was saying you can have the quality of your health in your hands by putting up the quality of food that you want to eat. So coming down to the food waste becoming compost, it is a very sure thing. And you start practicing it from your home, you now start selling it. Some people are, as we speak on this platform, they sell their garden waste that has become manure for other people to plant their waste. So it is a key thing. All these things are doable. All my listeners, I want you to know that domestic sewage can be, you can make money from it, you can make biogas. Why don't we see cans and metals on the road? It is because so many people already laughing to the bank. They go to the smelting, aluminum smelting industries, and they take it there. The real problem on ground is the plastic waste. We have the national plastic waste policy on ground. We have the Lagos State plastic waste policy. Even as we speak, we have what we call Lagos State resilience strategy. which talks about plans and policies of what Lagos State is doing with the themes agenda. The resilience vision really is to make us to be innovative, inclusive, and prosperous. So prosperity is at your doorstep as we speak, but we just need to be intentional. We need to be efficient. We need to be inclusive. And we have the various goals and initiatives. Waste sorting is a must. We must waste sort. And I also always talk about the 13 hours of sustainability. Temitope has shared like 3 or 4 with us, or I think 5. But we need to have the first R, remember, be responsible, replace, restore, repair, refuse, repurpose, respect, rethink, rot. These are all the R's that we need to put in place in having an effective plan to actually make money from waste. Waste to wealth is a done deal. It can be done, but you must have the right attitude. You must be intentional. You must do background checks. You must plan. And it is not for poor people. It is for everybody. In the Western climes here, we've seen that you go to the shopping complex, you pay for your bags, and so people bring their bags to come and shop. And then you go to, like in Germany, you take your waste to reverse vending machine and collect euro from it. That is where we want to be. That is how we want to make money, even in our nation, Nigeria, we've heard the statistics, and so the statistics are there. The waste is there. The problem is also there. The Ministry of the Environment, where I used to work, we talk daily about blockage of the waterways, of the canals, because of people throwing plastics into it. So why throw something that can become money away? So we need to get the right setting. We need to understand that when we need to make this money, we have to be intentional. We have to work out the plan and make sure that what are the sorts of ways, the stream of ways that we want to concentrate on. These are all issues that we have to bring on the table. So it doesn't stand like we're just talking. We've had this talk over and over again, but you must start practicing what you want to do. You must also plan with even as little as rainwater harvesting. There must be no wastage. You must put it in mind that whatever it is that God has created, he put us in the garden and he says, tend it and look after it. So everyone that wants to make a business that would break through must first be intentional and passionate. Thank you.
Be intentional and be passionate. Thank you so very much, Ms. Dene, for those closing words. And we're getting into having a conversation with our audience now. And let me just give a very high level, a helicopter summary of what we've been listening to. That way to West business is a passion business. And it takes a shift of mindset. It takes us to be able to see perhaps where there's no waste. Ms. Okunu said waste is a misplaced wealth. And that's very profound. And that what we call waste is actually raw materials for wealth. And if we get it right, we know how to really get into it. And I don't want you to forget in a hurry some of those R's of sustainability. It perhaps, as you ponder on it, as you think about it, it has a way of engendering the starting point, which is mostly the big problem for most people in starting a business. Mr. Dene said, remember, and that is the starting point. Remember that waste is no waste until it is wasted. Now, let's get into having conversations around this. All you said, we are not unaware that, I mean, 1 hour, perhaps one day will not be sufficient to have conversation around this area. We've seen that this is a great line of business, and we've seen that these waste to wealth businesses are becoming a subsector in Nigeria economy. You did say to us that globally, waste to wealth ventures accounted for about 2 trillion globally. and about 4 billion naira worth of waste are generated daily in Nigeria. That is awesome. So I saw those pictures, the flower Christmas tree light generated by PET bottles. So many of the creative products, finished products. You talk about jewelry, you talk about clothes, you talk about rugs and tables and chairs and all that. Now, we have some questions from perhaps you may want to tell any of our attendees. Someone is asking, so how exactly should I start? How should I start this type of business if I want to get started? Where is the starting point, Mrs. Okuno?
All right. I couldn't finish my slide there, but I had something to talk about that, So
okay.
The premise was to look at all the different waste materials that, can be generated around you. I looked at the comments and I saw how many people mentioned PET bottles, tires, and a whole lot. And then one particular person mentioned that, waste to wealth business is a passion business, and you are completely correct. You have to be passionate about this business for you to be able to make a leadway. Otherwise, the first year, second year, you're just going to drop off. In fact, 3 months, you're going to drop off because you're not feeling it. You're not seeing the reward immediately. So it is a passion business. You need to get that straight. And then secondly, you need to create your own niche. Starting a waste wealth business is a transformative journey. It holds that potential to create positive impact on the environment and your community. So if you want to venture into that business, you need to identify your niche. You need to understand the local waste landscape. And then before you get there, the first thing you need to do is, since you already know the kind of waste that is being generated around you, you need to do your own findings. Find out which one am I really interested in? Is it PET bottles? Is it pure water sachet? Is it the aluminum can? Mr. Odeneye mentioned that you can't see aluminum can on the floor because it's a whole lot of money business on that corner. Now, is it tire? Do you want to be creative or innovative? So identify your niche, determine the niche that aligns with your interest and available resources, the resources around you. You can decide to compost. Maybe you have a lot of food waste in your environment. So compost that food waste and encourage people to use the compost instead of fertilizers that people use in the market or that farmers use that is also generating a whole lot of health hazard. Compost might be a very good way to go into, to encourage the farmers to use for our own health sake. So you might want to go into technology as an example. You might want to go into technology and say, okay, I want to be able to link the people who have waste and the people who wants to buy waste together, like Packham. Packham is doing such a great job in waste technology. Then you do your market research. Conduct a thorough market research. Identify that area, the demand for the waste that you have chosen. Analyze your competitors and then again assess those market opportunities. Of course, now prepare a business plan that would detail how you will source these processes, how you source this waste, how you process it, and how you will market it, because it is money. You must have a business plan. It is just like what Mr. Bisionu is doing. It's a business. So you need to have a proper business plan to be able to execute well. You need to also comply with regulations. Mr. Dene talked about a whole lot of laws that we have and policies around waste, sustainable waste management. You must comply with them. First and foremost, understand what they are and then comply. Ensure that you have the necessary licenses, permits, and all of that. Of course, you now need to start talking about funding. Maybe you don't even have money. So for example, in a simple layman, if you were supposed to start a plastic recycling business, for example, you really may not have that huge amount of money. And of course, if you need money, of course, we have FundQuest here that you can lend money from. But first and foremost, you must have land space. You must have a land space, right? Have a land space. That space determines the amount of waste that you are able to generate and you're able to process. Secure a fund, through, like I said, loans from FundQuest, grants, or partnership. Acquire the necessary equipment that is necessary. You may not start as an aggregator immediately. You might just start as a collector. That's the first space. and then go into aggregating those PET bottles, and then before you know it, you might have, enough money to buy the equipment.
But let me just pause you, madam, there. Someone is asking a question related to what you're talking about. It said, for those who wish to contribute their used resources, their so-called waste, where can they find a place to drop it off?
Okay, so that's why I talked about technology first at the beginning of this response. So in Lagos right now, particularly in Lagos State, if you download the Pakam app, you would be able to see recyclers around you. And then all you need to do is to click on the recycler that is very close to you, and they would see it and then come to your house. And if you want to
please spell, sorry, madam, can you please spell that Pakam? How is it spelled so that the attendees can really get that clearly? Is it P-A-C-A-M?
P-A-K-A-M. P for paper, A for aluminium.
A for apple.
A for apple. Then K for key.
Okay.
Then A, another A for apple, then M for mommy.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Please, you may continue.
Yes, so you can download the Pakam app. Once you download the Pakam app, it will tell you to, you would follow some set of instructions. Then you will be able to schedule a pickup or a drop off. A pickup means people will come to you. Drop off means you would go there to them to drop off your waste materials. And then secondly, you can identify companies around you and then always go there. It's better you go there on your way out of your estate or on your way back to your estate or wherever you're coming from, so as to cut and minimize emissions. So can I continue?
All right. Okay. Let's just pause there. I know you will still continue. Mr. Deleye, there's this question from one of our attendees, and she said, I've just initiated the establishment of a recyclable waste collection center with the intention of acquiring plastic and supply them to recycling. However, I'm now pondering how to generate a profit while factoring in expenses such as listing. I guess the listing she's talking about has to do with land, because Ms. Okunu said something about you need to have a land, listing, waste acquisition cost, and the selling price of the recyclable. And let me add a rider to that. Is this really, is there money here?
Thank you very much. Like I said, there's money in it, but let me just say, because I've been in the environmental scene for 36 years or more. I started since I was 21. I've been an environmentalist. So the first thing is passion. The next thing is to make sure that it is what you really want to do, and you need to identify, like Temitope said, there's something about pricing, and then the level at which you are coming in. There is a low level of picking plastics, picking recyclables. There is the level of aggregating it, the collectors aggregating it, and then getting to the level of the person who is manufacturing, who is adding value. People are flaking plastics and sending them abroad and making money in dollars. Which level do you want to come in? So what kind of funds do you have to put in the business? Who is supporting you? So these are the real things to do. But I am even just starting from the awareness part of it, that individually, as a human being who needs to tend the garden, first be tidy, love the environment. Whatever you give to the environment, it gives back to you. When you remove a sweet wrapper, you should be intentional where you drop it. You should not just drop it on the floor and say, Loma will cut it away. First, that change of mindset. Then second, you now start seeing the business in it. And how do you need to go about it? What exactly do you want to do? Temitope upcycles a lot of tire tables. I have one in my house. Some people say, oh, why do you bring tire inside the house when there are better furniture that you can use to decorate the house? You know, I also have Ottoman made from school students. They put 12 bottles of PET bottles together, wrapped it around, and I'm always glad to show it off. My pencil case and my holder on the table is the bottle that they decorated. So how many of us are ready to buy the art? I have a sister and a friend who is turning tires into chairs, but she's complaining that nobody is buying. So we need to work on that end. Number two, she wants to do a plastic business. Is she coming in the area of flaking, where you give it to the likes of the companies that make it into chairs and all that? We need to do the chain, the value chain, and see where we want to come into. Then, of course, government intervention will also help. There are loads of laws, and there are a lot of things that are still upcoming, but we need to change our attitude for poor waste management and make sure that we get effective, we get organized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odeneye. There's another question here that I want Madam Okunu to speak to. And the question says, any training on waste recycling, where can we get trained? Do you have any, is there where such a person can? Because right in the mind of most people now, they are saying, so how do I start? How can I be trained? You talked about identifying area of operation within the waste to wealth value chain. You talked about the passion. Do I want to be a picker? Do I want to be an aggregator? Do I want to be manufacturer? You've talked about those value chain. Now someone is saying, how do I don't want to just get into it. I want to be trained.
Okay, so there are training opportunities available at the foundation, FAVE International Foundation, where we can train you either on composting, on recycling, upcycling, whatever it is you want to venture into. And there are other organizations that are also into training. And if it is technology, of course, PACAM is there for you to also learn how to deploy the technology, the green tech, when it comes to sustainable management.
You want to speak to that? What does exactly that, what's the role of technology in this process? So if I don't want to pick with technology, I mean, what role does it play within that value chain?
So what that is I don't have to leave my house and I'll get my PET bottles picked up. That's what it means. All I need to do is to press 1, 2, 3, ABC, and then get a recycler, maybe Tidy Nigeria, or maybe Waste in the City, or Recyclers. These are names of companies that are into recycling in Lagos at the moment. So all I need to do is just at the tip of my finger, I will just request that, oh, I need you to pick up my plastic waste in my house or in my office, and somebody close to you will come to your house or office, depends on the address that you give the person, and then to the company, and come and pick it up. And that does not even end there. When they pick it up, you get a reward instantly.
Reward in terms of money? Is that what you're saying?
Cash.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to show mine.
Interesting.
I've made
Okay. So
25,000 this year.
There is one of our attendees validating all we've been talking about since noon. And he said, I watched a video where tires are recycled for making interlocking tires used for road construction and floors of a compound. Yes. Now, let's tie all this together as we begin the home run. Although I'm still going to give you 2 minutes each to really put things in perspective. In terms of financing, I mean, someone wants to start business, you have already scaled, you've discussed various layers of operation within the waste to wealth value chain. And someone is saying, look, I want to be a picker. How do I start the next day after taking that decision?
Okay, should I go on, or Mrs. Odeneye?
Yes,
go on.
Yes, let's hear you then. Yeah, you are.
Okay, so like I said, the starting point is from being a picker, a collector. And you can't just, like I also mentioned, you need to have space. You must have space. So it could be, let me give you a personal story. Yeah. So I started from my home. Just like Mrs. Odeneye, I started sorting my PET bottles, my food waste, and other waste, tires and all of that. I started separating it at home. During COVID, it became very obvious that I was recycling. And just about when COVID was when we were supposed to, get out, we started talking to my neighbors, because people started seeing that I was growing food using my compost. And that was a selling point for me. I was growing food. They were seeing my veggies. They were seeing everything from, the balcony in my house. And I was using not pots. I was using my hypo, jig, containers, those big white containers. I was using PET bottles. I was using disposable cups, and they were amazed because everything was displayed on my veranda. And people will come in and ask. So where am I getting to? Those people who came in and asked, it gave me another opportunity to tell them that, oh, I recycle as well, and I get funded. I get money when I recycle. Like, really? So I said, yes, all I need to do is just call me that you have sorted out your PET bottles. There has to be some level of responsibility, like Mr. Deneye mentioned. There must be some level of intentionality when it comes to recycling. You cannot commingle your waste and then expect it to come out. You need to sort them. PET bottles separate, cans separate, nylon separate. When you do that, I'll give you good money. And then people started getting interested in my estate. I started posting this thing online. So people who are my friends but are not in my estate got to understand that this girl, what's up? What's going on? That's how I'm able to influence people, not just immediately around me, but outside through the WhatsApp status.
Okay, right. Okay, interesting.
And then we started getting people to come in. I went to my estate, knock on doors, and now today in that estate, we have a recycling center. I got interviewed by CNN because of all of that. So these are the ways that you can, but you have to be intentional. Get a space first. Start the work. Don't sit down. You must start the work. I go door to door. And that's how it started.
Thank you so very much. There are questions also here on financing and various funding options available to someone willing to start that business. Earlier you talked about having to have a business plan, or a feasibility report, something before you get into the business. Let me quickly put an answer out there that FundQuest can help you with that. We've got professionals in-house that can put a very bankable business plan for you if that is the way you want to go. And in terms of funding, generically speaking, you can do equity or you can do also debt. In terms of equity, maybe love money from friends and family, and maybe enemies as well. And get all that, and then make sure that you have money to start, something just to start, especially if you're starting small, like she just told us. But FundQuest is also willing to give you some working capital to help you kickstart that. And we also provide a form of lease, perhaps when you begin to scale and get a form of equipment to drive the business when we see that you started scaling. Now, I will come to Mr. Deneye. Someone is suggesting, that we have an association with Waste to Wealth Association in Nigeria, because you are a policy person, having retired as permanent secretary in the federal in the Ministry of Environment in Lagos State. So someone is saying, do we have an association now that you are not in government? You are now you are now out there. Is there an association that drives this?
Okay, yeah, very many. But what we need to do is to gather them together and work with a synergy. What has happened is there is a lot of silo working. This is doing something in a ministry. So in Lagos alone, we have the Resilience Office under the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budgets. We have LAGRA, Lagos State Recyclers Association, under LOMA under the Ministry of Environment. We have the Office of Science and Tech that does R&D, which is very key. Because I remember that when we had Secular Lagos, there was a guy who was there turning tires into slippers using it underneath, and we're able to introduce him to the governor. The governor told him to go to the Ministry of Science and Tech because of the research. So we have structures whereby people are just doing things in silos. For example, there was a time in the Ministry of Environment, I had loads of paper in the store. I wanted to pull the store down because it was leaking. And I went to Bulos does tissue and toilet roll. They took the load of paper and recycled it and asked me if I wanted money or if I wanted toilet roll. So these are the things that are happening. There are a lot of recycling businesses, like in Lagos that I know, the ones that are recycling aluminium. So people, but you can't go there with small quantity. So how do we aggregate? Lagos State Recycling Association is there. They have a president. They are getting more organized by the day. So this awareness is key. for you to know that
Interesting.
so that's really what I love to do. Know that you can do something and then bring you to the person that can help you. And that's what
Excellent.
I think they will get in the organization of FundQuest in terms of getting funds to do the business and you linking up to meet the right people that will help them to get to their next level. So R&D is very key. Data gathering is key. Awareness creation is key. Right pricing is also very key. Understanding the instrument that you need for your business is also key. Before you jump into anything, find out very well. We should not let it be like the pure water business where, oh, there is money in this business, you jump at it, and then it becomes saturated and you don't get what you desire. So those are the tidbits that I can give from experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Dene. That sounds like the closing remarks from you. And then let's take Mr. Okunu. What will you say as key takeaway? What should our audience, after this webinar, what should they be doing now after this webinar?
Well, I think, sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Oh, okay. So, having heard everything, I think I was just reading through the comments before you asked that question. I saw that somebody said you already have a plot of land. I mean, that's your gateway. You need to just start recycling immediately if that is what you really want to do. Like I was saying earlier, once you're able to get the niche, identify your niche, do all of the things I mentioned, market research and all of that, you need to start collaborating. I mean, start collaborating and start networking. Because without collaboration, and if you think it's not it's a competitive market, but don't be a competitor, right? Start using the word collaboration. When you collaborate more, you're able to hear the inside gist and you're able to get what you need, to scale up, and then measure your impact. The reason I say measure your impact is, you never can say. Just like I didn't know, I was just in my house when CNN turned up. And after CNN, a whole lot of funding opportunities had come, and and we've been able to scale up and all of those things. So also detail your success stories, talk about it. If you don't have an Instagram page, have it now. If you don't have Facebook, have Facebook. Social media, everybody can see you on social media, and people are able to see what you do and able to replicate. So you're not just in there for the money. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a passion business. A friend mentioned earlier too. It's a passion business. If you are not passionate about it, you are gone in 3 months. So we have been there. Mr. Dene mentioned she's been there for over 30 years. I have been here for almost 20 years, 16 years to be precise, or 17 years to be precise. And it is the passion that is keeping us in here. If you're not passionate about it, waste to wealth is not just going to, it's going to be a myth. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Okunu. Passion. And
one more word. One more
okay,
word.
go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Dene. And maybe you also want.
We must plan to live a zero waste lifestyle. That's where the passion will now grow, because by the time you are sorting, it must be, the sorting must go somewhere.
That's true.
So that's the key to the present and future environmental and climate change challenge. The challenge for climate change is real. There are plastics in the form of microplastics that we use for our fashion, from our clothes, from earrings and all. Fishes are already eating them, and they're becoming a problem of cancer for human beings. So basically, we have to do something about it before it does something to our health and extinguishes our life from us. We don't want that to happen, because we are human beings and we're in charge and we have senses and we can research and develop and make things better. We need to be responsible. So it's our ethical responsibility to live a zero waste lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Odeneye, for that awesome closing remark. And importantly, I want to tell all our participants that those questions that we couldn't take owing to time constraint, we will answer those questions and send them to your email, as well as the recording of this session. And it's a great privilege to have Mr. Okuno here with us, a practitioner par excellence, and also a awesome privilege to have Ms. Odeneye, someone who has transitioned from policy to practice in the area of waste to wealth business. We've listened to them, and there are a whole lot of takeaways today. And the starting point is just what it is to start. You got the passion, then go start. FunQuest is always available to guide you through the process in case you need a financial advisory support to help you put those documentation together. We have professionals in now that will do that and handhold you to the next tier of your business, which is funding. And in funding, we are also available to make sure that you get the right funding, both for working capital and some equipment acquisition in terms of leasing. And we are really ready to hold your hands through the process until you convert your waste to wealth. I want to thank Mrs. Odeneye one more time and Mrs. Okuno for the presentation of today. And I want to also thank all the participants. You've been awesome with your questions. It's been a wonderful session. I wish we had days to really keep talking about this and then to really expose more on this topic. Thank you so, so very much. Now, June.
All right. I'm sure we all had a very interesting session today. We just want to say thank you. Thank you so much to our executive director. Thank you, Mrs. Temitope Okuno. Thank you, Mrs. Ronke Odeneye. We have had amazing sessions, and thank you to attendees. Thank you to everyone for, the chat session was buzzing. You could literally feel the pulse of everyone. There's no doubt that our mindsets have been changed. Our approach to waste has actually changed. I'm sure a lot of people, are more conscious even from now when they want to throw something out of their car or something, they'll be like, oh, waste to wealth. I don't want to throw away wealth, So it's going to be a real culture of every attending here. So please, for our panelists, I'm sure a lot of people will look for you on social media and reach out to you. And we know that they are in safe hands. So that will be thank you from all of us at FunQuest. Please continue to be the great person that you are out there, and we look forward to a lot of waste to wealth initiatives coming to life as a result of this session. So thank you, everyone. Do have a great day. God bless you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. For
Bye,
those who
everyone.
are asking for the paper, Bolos International in Ogba, that's where they recycle paper, they make it into tissue. They are in Ogba, very conspicuous. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so very much. God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
I believe this is session 1 FunQuest. You are going to have to do session 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. And then later you are going to organize a seminar where you bring the interested parties together.
Right.
So that the money can be made. Thank you very much for organizing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
For the exposure.
We appreciate you.
God bless you.
Bye.
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 Bye.